your commentator for this event, and I'm joined by Chris Ryder. How you doing, Chris?
Yeah, morning, Josh. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Afternoon in Chennai, but morning here in England, where we're commentating from.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this match. I mean, I think the key to this one is how Abhay backs up after his match yesterday, because it was a 5-setter, but he was physically struggling at some points in the third and fourth game when he had a young Egyptian player that was just pushing him really, really hard, and he was suffering. So he managed to pull through that in the fifth with a pretty controlled and high-quality squash. So to me, this is all about how he has recovered from that match, and can he play at the standard he's been playing at. If he can, he'll be a threat, because he's been playing some high-quality stuff.
Yeah, I saw his first round match, Abhay. I've seen both matches of Mahesh, and Mahesh has looked very clinical so far in this event. Played
he's
very well.
He's
very
been comfortable in
yesterday.
his draw, hasn't he?
Yeah, he was very composed yesterday. It could have become a messy match, I think, against the 5 seed Mangaonkar of Egypt, but he kept his head down and played very clinical squash, I thought. Good lines to the back of the court. And was finishing well to the front,
sometimes it doesn't.
The backhand side.
Sometimes it doesn't work in your favour, though, if you haven't been really tested and you're not as sort of up to scratch as hitting-wise as maybe you'd like to be. It can work in your favour. So I imagine Abhay will take the positives of his 2 upset victories, and he's definitely going to be hitting the ball well. He's going to be tactically on song. So I think it'll be interesting to see how this first game develops. I do feel that Abhay probably needs to, take a lead. If he's down in the game scores, he's really going to be struggling.
Yeah, I'd agree with you, and I think that's kind of what we saw yesterday from Mahesh. Was when he was up, he was able to close out the match very well. Just a little bit of contact.
I'm not sure how that's a let, really. Was it the previous shot that Abhay's asking for?
Yeah, I think he just caught him. There's a bit of a smile on his face, so I don't think it was the biggest.
He certainly wasn't getting a let from Mahesh's shot, was he? It was. He was early on to that one there, wasn't he? I think this is what we're going to see from Mahesh. Is like he wants to dominate that tee area. He's a physically big guy, and he really looks to hunt across the middle.
I think we commentated together, didn't we, on the first match of Abhay, and he looks a really classy player. He's taking the ball in short with a lot of ease and straight lines going in. We see a bit more dividends on the glass court to the back courts in the early rounds, but from that, interested to see if he can have enough quality and weight.
Yeah, I definitely. I like his weight of shot. He drags people up to the front with quite soft drops, and he uses his hold to make sure that people aren't volleying. So he stops their movement on the tee, and then he's able to get it through slightly softer, which means it dies in the back corners. So it really sort of lengthens out the court for his opponent. So if he can use that to get past the volley of Mahesh, then maybe he's onto something.
Yeah, great. It's a bit of a contrast of styles, actually. I think Mahesh is probably plays with a bit more intensity to Abhay naturally, a bit stronger around the middle of the court. I think Abhay probably offers a few more options from the corners, actually. As you were kind of saying, a bit better weight, but maybe a few more little subtleties in weight of shot rather than severity. So it's a bit of a contrast of severity against subtlety a little bit.
Yeah, well, I was about to say he was pretty accurate to the back of the court, so and then he just nailed one over the top of the court. So I'll leave that.
It's called a commentator's curse, that.
Well, I didn't say it. I was just preempting it. He just seems to have Abhay. He just seems to have so much time when that ball's overhit. Like here, buys himself time. He's got such control at the top of his swing and stability in his stance, and that's a real threat. Actually, I mean, you might be in position on the tee, and it looks like you're controlling it, but actually, I'd say that Abhay is controlling that phase of play, and it's kind of up to his quality then to make the most of it.
Nice passage here from Abhay. Stringing together quite a few nice shots in a row here.
There we go.
Deserved that. I know it's forced the error, but it's there was some really nice shots back to back, and just working Mahesh around the court in a lovely style there.
Yeah, he sort of proved to the ref there that he could get to the ball and then just didn't play it. Difficult because there was some minimal sort of interference. I think it was probably only minimal.
Let them feel each other out a little bit here, Ryder, but what would your score prediction be here?
I would probably go with a 3-love Mahesh. I think that's going to be a big ask for Abhay physically after yesterday. You know, and like I say, if he goes 1-love down, then he's in a load of trouble. Mahesh will just keep piling on the pressure. But you know, I do think that Abhay, his style doesn't necessarily lend itself to a quick start, does it? Because he's trying to take control through accuracy of hitting. So there's always a kind of chance there that he can start taking control of that match and take control of the tempo and then go on a run of points himself. But I'm going to stick with my 3-love Mahesh. How about you, Josh?
Yeah, it was interesting. I feel that there's at least a game in this for Abhay, if not more. I'm going to go 3-1 Mahesh. I think there's going to be enough quality from Abhay at periods of this match to at least get a game. And as you say, it's then going to be a question mark on the effect of yesterday.
Yeah, I think it's not just the physical effect, is it? When you're, you know, it's the pressure of being a homegrown player. I think there's an emotional kind of toil of using up adrenaline in a match like yesterday's, and that's difficult to replace so quickly when you don't get a rest day. So I think physically and emotionally, you know, mentally, he'll be tired here. But I'd like him to surprise us, and it'll surprise me, and make this really competitive and test Mahesh.
Yeah, he's certainly shown that he's a young player on a move for me, Abhay, across this event so far.
Yeah, he's been impressive, definitely. And this will move him up the rankings, won't it?
Yep.
If he wins today, definitely. I mean, even if he loses today, it will jump him up, probably into the top. Oh no, where is he? He's actually slipped down to about 140, hasn't he? But
he's 149,
he will.
I think 149. Yeah.
He'll jump back up to his original ranking pretty quickly with this sort of form. And it's not about getting to there for him, it's about getting significantly further than that. That's some great exchanges there, though, in the middle. A lot of skill, quick hands. Oh, and unfortunately, that's probably a stroke.
It's a big lead here so far in this first game for the older of the two Indian players. Mahesh, 5-point lead. Expect to see him close this out. There's two nice lines hit from Abhay from around the middle of the court, making the most of a couple of loose balls from Mahesh.
Yeah, Mahesh has started opening up a little bit as well, hasn't he? So he started chucking in a couple of different angles and trickle boasts, and I think he's looking to expand a little bit.
Yeah, I just feel he's lost quality in doing that. He's gone a bit more cross-court, as you say, a few more angles, and actually that's allowed Abhay to find his lines and played into his hands a little bit in these last few exchanges.
There we go again.
Again, just cutting it off.
So 3 very similar finishes to the rallies there, where Abhay has hit a very nice line, clean, not catching the sidewall, off across court.
Thought that was Mahesh getting him back with a nice line. Just a little bit straighter there from Mahesh. That rally.
Through the legs.
Oh, great finish.
That's some lovely bits of skill there from both players. Fast exchange, one down the middle, deliberately down the middle. They played on, in between the legs, and a nick to finish. Can't ask for much more than that. It'll be on the highlights reel, won't it?
Smash 10-7 here. 3 more game balls. lengthy rally here as Mahesh tries to get across the line. Abhay trying to make sure he stays in this first game. Oh, beautiful angle there from Abhay.
Yeah, and I like the fact that Abhay is not giving up on this at all. So he's 3 game balls down, and actually he's lengthening the rallies, which you could think as the more fatigued player, and he might not want to do. But actually, it's suiting him. I think the longer rallies here have generally suited him because he has that hold, he has that comfortable movement when he's accurate. But it's the pressure, the higher intensity that he's struggling with, isn't it?
That's a lovely finish again from around the middle. Brought this right back to 10-9. Last game ball for Mahesh. We're saying crucial first game really to set the tone for this match.
Really is. Big point this. It's funny how the pressure changes so much in these situations. Those can be completely relaxed 2 points ago for Abhay, go for his shots, and then all of a sudden there's a weight of expectation now that he's in with a chance, and he might tighten up a little bit. This is what he needs now. I don't really feel Abhay had much of a clue where that ball was going. He was just running into his opponent.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it was probably a let, but on another day that could have been a no let. If Mahesh had got that a foot deeper in the court, then it was a no let.
Yeah, I was just going to say if Mahesh had recognised the situation a bit better there and just sent that a bit deeper, that would have been a different outcome. In on this backhand, turn it across from Mahesh.
That's good pressure there. Oh,
beautiful touch.
Here we
Good
go.
Pressures, flips as well from Abhay. I think that's his quality showing rider there. The lovely drop from the back, and then followed it up nicely. It was good pressure, just towards the back end of the rally where it really mattered.
Yeah, Mahesh has got such a fine line in some ways because he wants to add pace to the ball, but he can't overhit it. He cannot afford to overhit, really. He's got to keep that accuracy. Good lift.
It's interesting just looking at the body language, isn't it, Ryder? Abbay's got a bit of a buzz about him now. He's got himself right in here. Kind of play you don't really want to see with a spring in his step with some of the weapons he possesses.
That's a shame, isn't it? That was a lovely boast that went in fast. Abhay not happy here. I think he's probably not happy about the towel break.
Yeah, he could have certainly could have used the towel himself, Abhay. Just reset a little bit.
Oh. Well, what a way to finish the game.
So there we have it, 12-10 to Mahesh. 1 game to love.
Yes, that was a really interesting first game there, and you can see that Mahesh got off to a pretty good lead, 8-3, and it was just continued pressure really from him. And we had to bear in mind the fatigue from the previous matches from Abhay Singh, who had a 5-setter yesterday, a really tough 5-setter, and upset the seedings 2 days in a row. And but once he got into the first game, then Abhay started using his hold and using his accuracy to control great swathes of rallies, and then was able to make the court really long with his soft drops from the back and his control and his dying lengths, and got it back to 10-all. And then it was a bit of an up the intensity from Mahesh, who just managed to get across the line there. And I feel that was an important one there for Mahesh, but it will be certainly interesting now to see how much Abhay's got left in the tank, because he's proved he's competitive in this. If he can match Mahesh for physicality, then his quality has been really good this week, really good. So certainly not all over. We'll see what this game holds, shall we, Josh?
Yes, both players back on. Kind of did show right. You said you thought Abhay would be a bit of a slow starter, and he was there a bit. Mahesh started well, but turned into a really interesting first game. It'd be interesting to see where this goes now. That's a nice exchange to start us off from backhand corner.
This is quick.
Well, I was just about to say the intensity's gone through the roof from Mahesh to start this off. Really trying to show he means business here.
Yeah. If he can pile on the pressure here, he might feel like that's the heart of the match won, isn't it? You know, to go 1-love up, and if he went like 5-1 up, 6-2, something like that, then he can really demoralise his opponent and be physically stronger and just leave him so much to do.
Yeah, there's a real intent to up the intensity here. Just looking to take the ball in a little bit more. He gets the opportunity to hit through. Still lifting at the right times. But
Well, sometimes that's the problem with trying to increase the intensity, is actually you end up making the wrong shot choice. You're not lifting when you should lift. You're not focusing on accuracy. You're not watching as well. You know, so, and these things could play into Abhay's hands. He likes pace coming onto him. He doesn't have to generate it then all the time. And he can deflect that pace and deflect it round into the corners. So you have to be careful playing at pace on such a skillful player.
Mr. Singh, no need to see. I think he's taking his... No, it's fine. No, I feel there's no problem.
Well, the intensity's definitely come out of it very quickly, hasn't it?
yeah, it's just to the accuracy, isn't it? It's become a bit bitty, which can happen when you've got one player trying to force pace a little bit, and then you've got another player with the control of someone like Abhay.
Yeah.
We've got obviously a bit of discussion as well, which doesn't help. A few decisions.
No, I think that Mahesh should really just be getting on with it there. It's a pretty clear stroke, and he wants this to be continuous play, really. Well, Abhay not happy with his movement twice there. Movement off the ball from Mahesh. He felt it was going, I think, into his line that he was coming in.
4-3.
Wow, it's close. Saw that happen a couple of times yesterday where player got hit by the ball. It is bouncy on there, it is hot, so those cross courts come out a long way. That's a lovely drop from Abhay, seeing there. And he's actually managed to get himself a 5-3 lead here, so after that initial intensity spike at the start, first couple of rallies, he's really brought it down to a pace where he's happy and he can impose his accuracy. And that's unlucky there. Just catching the top of the tin, a nice pattern of play there, quite a controlling lob, almost encouraging his opponent to hit hard from that high forehand. That's an incredible bit of skill again from Abhay. Couldn't back it up, couldn't capitalise on it. Now he's in trouble. Nice lift again. There we go, fine margins. Catches the top of the tin for the second time in a row. That's just the pressure he's under. He's just under pressure, just Mahesh just hitting it that little bit harder, getting on the ball that fraction earlier. It adds up over time, 10, 20, 30 shot rallies. A critical phase of this match really now, 5-all in the second. Abhay does bring it back to 1-all, then room for a bit of a match if he's got himself moving. He's got his accuracy working, he's hitting his targets at the front and he's got some threat. And if he's starting to read Mahesh a bit better as well, then the match is starting to swing in his hands, but this is such a critical phase, he needs this portion of the match.
There's nothing wrong, Mr. Singh. No, it's fine. I feel it's fine. So your safety.
Really locked in here, Ryder. 6-all.
No, 6-all.
I actually thought the score was 6-5, but I was watching the squash too much.
Ah, that is a beautiful shot from Abhay. Showing some emotion after it as well.
Yeah, he really does need this portion of the match, doesn't he? This is so critical here.
Nope.
That's interesting.
Pretty close to a stroke, that, just looking at the line of the ball.
Yeah. But Mahesh should have done better from there, really, I felt. Like, he had an opportunity to tuck that away in the corner. Oof.
7-all.
Well, he's done well here, Abhay, to keep in it to 7-all, and he's kind of always got a chance, even though he was 10-7 down in the last game. He came back to a tie-break, forced a tie-break. So he's done the job of staying in this game. Now he's got to be able to step up and take it away from his opponent.
Mangaonkar. 8-7.
Great width
Great cross
from,
court from there.
Mahesh.
Yeah,
Followed
considering
it
that
nicely
ball
with
was
the
pretty
drop.
glued.
Some of these lines that he's hitting are fantastic. He's been consistently using that cross-court lift out the front backhand as well, Ryder. It's not going in or hitting something aggressive, it's the lift. Just clipping the top of the tin there, though. Be annoyed with himself there. He'd got himself into a good position, and then a couple of errors, and it's flipped right back to Abhay. 9-8.
Yeah, I think he's he's tried to force the pace, hasn't he? And that's where his errors have come from. Take it in, and I don't really feel he needed to in the last two rallies.
Oh, it's a beautiful finish as well from Abhay. That brings him up with 2 game balls here, 10-8 in this second game.
And this is horribly close to your prediction being right, isn't it, Josh?
Well, who knows? It might go a lot further. He's done exceptionally well here, Abhay, from that close situation at mid part to find himself here at 10-8. A few errors from Mahesh and a few nice balls from him.
Just catching him with the racket there.
Yeah.
Well, despite the
line there.
yeah, I think we had a perfect view from where we were at that camera angle at the front, which I think showed a little bit of naughty movement off the ball there. Because I mean, to be honest, he hit the nick, didn't he? If he'd let his opponent come through there, Abhay, it would have probably been a no-let, or he probably wouldn't have got the ball. Lovely touch. Oh, well, if you look at the quality of that ball, it was literally rolling down the side wall, wasn't it? Which is what Mahesh is now pointing out.
11-8. I made it very clear. You need to clear. You need to.
Yeah, a little bit of discussion, which.
From the side.
And I don't really see that Mahesh's movement there was any worse than Abhay's movement in the previous point.
Anyway, there we have it. 13-minute second game. Younger of the 2 Indian players taking it 11-8 to draw us level at 1 game all.
So we've got a match on our hands here, which is quite impressive from Abhay Singh once again, who's been sort of one of the stars of the show this week and already produced 2 upsets of seedings. And now he's firmly got himself into this match at 1-1. It was pretty level pegging the second game all the way through, and then he pulled away with the last 4 points at the end there, which actually we saw him do in his first match consistently. And I felt that Mahesh was trying to up the intensity, but he didn't quite get his accuracy right there. And Abhay was able to pick him off his overhit shots and use his lovely touch there. So this will be all to play for now.
Yeah, it's a very intriguing situation here, isn't it? Good finish from Mahesh there to take the first point on the board in this third game. I think this first passage could set a bit of a tone. If it goes tight, if one player can get ahead, get a bit of a lead, it might just swing some momentum. But if it goes tight, I think we could be locked in for quite a bit longer, Ryder.
Yeah, I don't think Mahesh has been able to sustain an intensity that Abhay is uncomfortable with for long enough. I think he's trying to increase the tempo, isn't he? But he's not quite reading him well enough. He's not quite getting on the ball early enough to be able to do that for sustained periods of time to get into him physically. So a very good exchange there. Probably hit the ball back to each other. Looked like a little skill game.
Yeah, he's just in passages. Mahesh has done enough to trouble. It's not been sustained, I think it's that sustained pressure that he's going to need to put someone of the skill set of Abhay away. And it's credit to the younger player as well, using his variation to keep getting himself back into this match. Soft error there off the serve. Just not putting enough pace on what was a soft lobbed serve. Well, your prediction, Ryder's gone out the window. So
has, isn't it? But I'm pleased in a way because, well, I am pleased for the sake of the game. I thought that Abhay would really struggle to come back after that match yesterday, to be honest, because there were points in that he looked down and out. And that I know from experience how hard that is to come back the next day and actually increase, because he's got to play a better player. He's got to play the number 1 seed here.
Mm.
But yeah, now he has actually settled into this match. It looks very even, doesn't it, on the face of it?
Yeah, I'd agree with you. There's becomes very hard to call at this stage. Not quite covering off the ball as he was at the start of the match, though, Abhay. So, some of the effects you were talking about, there's just a few movements there, a little bit slower off the ball.
Yeah, and he's guessed a few times, hasn't he? And he's got it right so far, but he won't be able to keep getting it right. I don't feel that it was necessarily... there's a fine line between anticipating and guessing, isn't there? And he was on the guessing end of it.
Yeah, I'm just watching a few of his lunges at the back of the court. It's just starting to look a little bit heavier. Nice counter there. Good line hit after setting up the diagonal. Yeah, Mahesh really just needs to get out of the way there. Like, he'd hit a nice line. It probably would have been a winner, but quite clearing enough.
Yeah, that's happened a couple of times, hasn't it? You know, and it's actually in his favour to make his opponent go and get it when he's hit a quality shot, which that is.
And out. 6-2.
Don't see too many of those, do you, with the 3-wall nick post winners?
Yeah, I think we're just starting to see some of the effects of yesterday in Abhay. I do think, you know, as the ball got caught behind him there, just a few little twitches between point as well. Big lead
this
here
has
for
gone very quickly.
Mahesh. This has run away a bit.
He was just onto that ball very, very early, wasn't he? And, you know, it's such fine margins in squash where, you know, you start to read someone a bit better, you start to get a fraction more accurate, or your opponent's physicality dips a little bit, and points go very, very quickly.
Yeah, it's looking like Abhay as well has binned off this third game. Bit of a regroup phase. Should probably getting himself his head right for mounting a bit of a comeback. Looking very lethargic in his walk to the service box there.
Yeah, but you'd want to make sure your racket skills you're feeling confident about them going into the next game, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it's part of this sort of ebbs and flows of a match, and it's a bit of a weird phase here. Mahesh not quite closing it out how he'd got to his big lead, and Abhay looking very relaxed. But here we go, we've got game balls, 10-4. And done first time. 11-4 to Mahesh. That's the third game. Takes him to a 2-1 lead.
So a pretty convincing third game there for number 1 seed Mahesh, and you can see that passage of play there where he just pulled away 4 points to 9 points, and Abhay was definitely starting to struggle and feel the physicality of this match and previous matches, and he's still in this. He's definitely playing at a very high level. Can he get it back? Can he have one big last push here? He's certainly got the skills to unsettle the number 1 seed here. So we'll see if there's a big push here at the start. There'll need to be, but Mahesh is going to keep piling on the pressure.
Yeah, Abhay returns to the court, fresh shirt. Maybe a bit of a psychological thing, a bit of a refresh. Get the mind back going.
Do you think one of the things he'll take from this tournament is he's got to have faster starts and start imposing himself earlier in games and matches?
Yeah, I'd agree with you, Ryder, in that. And I just think as well, you know, you're going to have to back up matches. It's the nature of the sport, isn't it? So, you know, we're seeing a few physical signs. So I guess just that confidence in backing up matches. And I think there's a lot of positives to take away from it. You know, he's really showed his skill set. I think he's gone about his business in a really good way as well. Certainly showing the standard of a player that's much higher than his ranking. With more events coming back, more experience, I expect to see him as a player on the move a little bit here.
Yeah, I think one of the nice things, it's an enjoyable brand of squash to watch, isn't it? You know, he's you get a let there. Yeah, he shapes up really nicely for the shots. You know, he's got threat, he's got options, he's got variety. There's a lot of skill in there. So, you know, it's something that we'd like to see more and more of coming up in PSA. And we are, I mean, with the skill level on show at the top of the sport list these days is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, it's a modern brand of squash, isn't it? It's a brand that's ready for where the sport's at. So certainly with more experience and, you know, as the quality refines, I think he's set up to do well. As you'd expect, got a little bit buzzed back. Abhay just starting to put some patterns together here.
Yeah, Mahesh needs to, for his part, he needs to keep his discipline. He needs to keep that ball pretty tight, doesn't he? And, you know, apply pressure when it's appropriate. You know, I feel sometimes he's trying to apply pressure and he's a bit deep in the corners to be able to do that. And it shouldn't really hurt him to go slow for a little bit and make the rallies a bit longer and then increase the pressure when it's the right time.
Yeah, and I think it's just that, I mean, here he's starting to straighten out again, but it's just that little bit from Mahesh where he starts to go a little bit wayward, starting to open the court up a little bit more. And actually, I feel he's got a lot more reward in this match from the straighter passages where he's hit really quality lines with weight to the back of the court, just limiting Abhay's options, really. Just really good, simple squash done very well, but not getting caught in some of the open passages where that's where Abhay's skill set and his options lends itself.
Oof.
Crikey. Bad error there from the middle of the court from Abhay. It's just opened up a 2-point lead from Mahesh. He's going to have to respond here. He doesn't want this to race away. A couple of errors now. Yeah, I think that's a fair decision, actually. I mean, Mahesh's racket went very high, very quickly, looking for Abhay rather than trying to find a line round there.
Well, I'd like to see a replay of that, Josh. I wasn't so sure.
You know,
I thought the quality of Abbay's shot there, it popped. I thought it popped out, caught the sidewall, popped out. I thought it was closer to a stroke, but you know, that's why I'm not.
Yeah, it was just how high his racket was and how quickly he just went for Abhay. I think the way he went about it didn't help. But that's it's probably helped the match out though. It's brought it back to 4-all, and that little lead that Mahesh built has gone very quickly. That's aggressive line.
That's a pretty incredible shot, really. I mean, he's hit that about as hard as he can hit it from a high backhand, about half an inch above the tin. Don't know if you could ask for much more. Well, I don't know if he pushed him there.
Yeah, I feel that's a bit of an exaggeration. I'd have to see a replay to see that. It definitely wasn't a two-handed shot because he's got a racket in one hand. So
he's got, and he was facing the other way playing a shot. Maybe he got caught up in his legs.
Yeah. Hold at the front, just elongating the court.
That's a nice shot there. Great dying length. This is going to hurt.
Just getting straight out. I mean,
the rest
frustrated with himself because it put together a really nice rally, and then actually it was a loose shot to finish. But what's noticeable there, Ryder, was just the line of the cross court just starting to run away from Abhay, whereas previously in this match where Mahesh has gone cross court, it's gone a bit wider and actually just opened the court up a bit. Just starting to find a slightly different angle on his cross court.
Yeah, I feel Mahesh is starting to get a good accuracy on his lengths a bit more here. They're not coming off the back wall. They're not giving him extra time. But obviously you've got the danger with Abhay. If you leave it too short, he will use his skills of nice line hitting and taking the pace off the ball to punish you that way as well. So you do really have to try and match him as best you can for accuracy on the length hitting. But at the same time, players want to force the pace. It's a fine line they tread, but when they do get it right, it's a hard battle there. When Mahesh is getting that right, hitting down on the ball, it's hitting the back of the service box type of length. That's pretty good stuff, really. Right there, that's a good shot. Got him in trouble. Put the kill in. Oh, I don't know how he's got let out of that.
That's why I'm learning like 5-6, play on. You're coming on his line.
I can understand Mahesh's frustration here. I don't think that was anywhere near a let, but it's still not in his favour to dwell on that and to argue with the ref. He needs to stop looking at his racket and get his shoulders up and get on with the next point. He was on a good roll there.
Yeah, and I think it's also the consistency, of what he was doing, and also the time between rallies. I mean, he wants to really pile on the pressure and keep the intensity going in this match.
He still wants to talk about the previous rally, doesn't he? So he definitely hasn't got that one out of his head. He's not going to change the ref's mind now on the previous rally, is he? He does not look happy.
Still trying to get rid of it, isn't he? He's still trying to let that thought disappear.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's one of the skills that you probably don't appreciate watching the squash. I mean, it's just sort of like you're just taking it at face value. But what they're thinking, the players, they've got to deal with all these like highs and lows within the match, and keeping yourself on an even keel mentally and emotionally, and on a positive end of that is just so difficult, and it takes so much practice. And that's, you're training for that as well, aren't you? That's happening all the time in your training. What's happened here is there's a light gone out, Josh. It just
yeah, we've got. Oh, we're getting a bit of a mop of the court. It's one of two things.
I just felt the power went out. Yeah, so well, this does happen every now and again.
Play on. Six, 7. Yeah, now he's ready. Yeah, you can start. So to Singh. Seven out. We saw the ball going to Mangaonkar. 8-7. So to Mangaonkar. Now 8 all. Nine, 8 from the left. Yes, left. For safety, Mr. Mangaonkar, yes, leg. Was not sure about the pickup, Mr. Singh. Not sure about the pickup, yes, leg. 9-8 from the left. Yeah, was not sure. There is no review. Yes, left. You need to clear, Mr. Mangaonkar. Deliberately you going for his line, Mr. Mangaonkar. No.
Just a bit of interference and Abhay trying to demonstrate with a bit of a hula hoop technique there in the back corner, but
I've come back, Josh, and you're talking about hula hoops. Oh,
yeah,
amazing
that's
dive.
yeah, that's what happens when you disappear, Ryder. I just go to a complete shambles. Yeah, we're back from the abyss. Yeah, it was just a bit of interference in the front corner, and Abhay was trying to demonstrate what looked like a hula hooping technique, to be honest. And good rally here, intensity coming back through.
I think Abhay was asking for a let, given the fact that the floor was wet there after his dive. Now that can't be the right score, can it? It's not 7-6. 10-8 match ball.
10-8 match ball, yeah. So here we go. 2 match balls, Mahesh. The score froze with us, I think, Ryder. 2 match balls.
Another good cross court.
I feel that is a let, but against such a large amount of space for Abhay to play, and he's better off playing that ball and just finding the line straight onto the forehand side.
Yeah, pretty much anywhere on the forehand wins in the point.
Great line from Abhay. That takes 1 match ball away. 10-9 now, 9-10. Still clinging in here.
Oh,
There we have it. 11-9 match to Mahesh. 3 games to 1. Number 1 seed takes it. High ranked player takes it in this all Indian battle. So there we have the overall score. 6-7 minutes in total. 12-10, 8-11, 11-4, 11-9. 21-minute last game. Match bookended by a 20-minute and a 21-minute game. 3 games to 1 to Mahesh.
that was a proper contest, which fair play to Abhay Singh, who had a really tough match yesterday, and that was his. It upset 2 seedings in the previous 2 rounds, and I was personally concerned about his physicality coming into this, having had such hard matches, and he gave us a really good test for Mahesh there. Like, Mahesh will know he was in a match, and I think in hindsight that's probably a good match for Mahesh, who's had a relatively easy passage before that, and now is in the final and will be playing a bit better because of that match. But ultimately it was probably Mahesh's pressure play which got him there. He was getting on the ball early, hitting it hard, trying to take the tee away that Abhay just couldn't quite get past with his accuracy and holds and skill to the front. But a really good match. I enjoyed that one.
So that's the first of our semi-finals here today. Our next match, an all-Egyptian affair, which will be with you very shortly. It's Malek Kamal and Rana Ismail.